to Maddie.
All right, hi everyone, Maddie speaking. I'm gonna just go over a few slides regarding our diversity and clean tech early stage program, which I will call DICES because it's kind of a mouthful. So, as Leslie alluded to, DICES is meant to enable eligible certified women and minority-owned early stage companies to develop prototypes and proof of concept studies. So we give up to 2 grants, up to $75,000 per round, as well as offering technical support from MassVentures. We have 2 solicitations a year in the spring and fall. Our spring round is now open until March 16th. And if you want to apply, you have to be an eligible woman and minority-owned Massachusetts-based early stage company. We will talk on the next slides about what this eligibility means, and you have to have a clean energy innovation prototype. So for eligibility, all applicants to the DICES program are subject to the eligibility requirements and processes outlined for the Catalyst program, in addition to the requirements outlined on the next few slides. So if you are to apply to DICES, you have to follow these steps prior to applying. So we ask that you follow this link, which is in our RFP and will be on these slides that you can press, to a 30-second self-assessment as part of the certification program for the Supplier Diversity Office in Massachusetts. So this is pretty quick. It's just a few questions that you have to ask. It's not too time consuming. As we said, it takes about 30 seconds. We've tested it out ourselves. Once you complete this, you will get a screenshot such as the one on the right that says your company should apply for a WB certification or something like that, showing that you are eligible for DICES. You can submit a screenshot or download of the result page that you get and attach it to your Catalyst DICES application. If your application is selected for an award, it's encouraged but not required that you complete the full SDO certification process. It is a great process to do, but it can be time consuming, so we don't make it a requirement so that it doesn't make your Catalyst awarding longer than it has to be for contracting. So now we will talk about Catalyst. We'll send it to Priya.
Thank you, Maddie. Next slide, Leslie. Great. What is the Catalyst program? Under Catalyst, we provide up to 7 grants of up to $75,000 per grant, along with technical support from MassVentures. And this is directed to Massachusetts-based early stage companies and nonprofit research institutions that are looking to demonstrate initial prototypes and perform proof of concept studies of their clean energy technologies. Students can apply, but they would need to have a PI with them if they are working on clean energy innovation projects. We run this program twice a year as well, spring and fall. So if the timing does not seem right for you now, then wait until fall to apply. Our current round for spring 2023 is open, and we will be accepting proposals through midnight of March 16th. But please do not wait till the very last minute as the clock counts down, because the tool locks down, and I stay up typically till midnight to resolve issues. But we've given you a lot of time, and we hope to see your applications early enough. Now, in terms of the program benefits, it's great news for some of you who have been familiar with these programs. Since fall 2022, we've increased the grant funding for Catalyst and DICES to $75,000, which is really awesome. If you are selected to pitch as a finalist after the written review, you get pitch coaching from us, which is mandatory. But it's great, and also business mentoring throughout the grant program. You also gain access to our vast network of partners, both MassCEC and MassVentures, expert insight into clean energy policy environment within Massachusetts, and also you can get a lot of mentoring from us. We offer check-ins with grantees as well, so you can stay connected with us throughout the duration of the program and after as well. And if you're at the point where you are raising funds, both the MassCEC and the Mass Ventures investment teams would love to chat with you to see if we could be potential partners in your raise. So as you can see, there's just lots of great benefits from both of these programs. Now, in terms of the application requirements, we ask that you provide the following information. We do want to see an overview of your technology and why it is important. We definitely need to see a clean energy impact. This is a very important criteria, which we need to see a solid case made in your application. By clean energy impact, we need to have detail and clarity demonstrated in your proposal on the greenhouse gas avoidance, from cost declines, any efficiency improvements you are able to demonstrate with your technology, etc. We will need insight on your commercialization potential, your market research, any customer discovery. Clearly explain to us your proposed business model. We need you to provide us details about what you plan to do with the grant funding, your milestones, what you're trying to accomplish, and when and how. The project needs to be carefully selected, and we can talk more about that in a few slides. We do expect a project budget summary showing how you plan to allocate your $75,000 budget. And finally, give us information on your team so we understand not just the technical side, but also the business composition of your team. Do you have people who span both skill sets? And who are your advisors? Just share all of that information with us. And all of this should be included in the template we have provided for the online application. So please follow it carefully. In terms of what we're looking for, tell us a good, cohesive, clear story. A proposal with a high likelihood of success would have some of the following attributes. For technical merit, make sure that the technology is promising, it's new or disruptive. We're not looking for, new ways maybe to repurpose something that's, existing. Try and show us that there are new novel technologies or solutions that you have developed. From a commercialization perspective, show us that you have a good value proposition, you know your target market, it's large or it's growing. You've done your customer discovery. You know who your customer is, you know what they want, and you can deliver it. If you have a niche market, then we encourage you to be confident that you can address the needs of that market. Now, for the project plan, the project selected should be achievable within the duration of the project, which is a year, and the budget constraints provided. And the results should be meaningful towards the next step of your commercialization plan. You should have a knowledgeable team who would know how to commercialize your technology. Now, the technology also needs to fit our program. So we're looking for technologies with clean energy impacts that can be measurable through the reduction of fossil fuel use. As mentioned in the RFP for this grant cycle, we're looking for proposals to have a particular emphasis on 4 primary focus areas: building level energy usage. What we mean by that is impactful, resilient, and cost-effective electrification technologies and approaches to decarbonizing the building sector. Clean transportation. Show us cutting-edge clean transportation technologies that address the market barriers to electric vehicle deployment. Offshore wind, we're looking for you to project risk reduction, market confidence enhancement, and economic development that advances this new industry. And finally, integration of carbon-free generation on the electric grid. Present us with technologies that enable a transition to an electric grid that can support the high penetration of intermittent, renewable generation and electrification load needed to meet the Commonwealth's net zero goal. Now, while Catalyst or DICES funding may be used to support prototype development of any technology or proposed business model that meets MassCEC's definition of clean energy technologies, as defined in the RFP. We will give emphasis on identifying projects in these focus areas, again, defined in the RFP. If the proposal does not, say, for example, falls under a focus area, we encourage proposals that include technologies with a significant impact potential outside of those areas. The evaluation criteria is also detailed in Section 9 of the RFP. It includes information on what reviewers will consider with regard to clean energy impact. The proposal you submit should also demonstrate a strong potential for follow-on funding. By this, we mean a likelihood of market entry for university projects and a likelihood of attracting private investment for startups. Now, in terms of what do we mean by a prototype, it's an initial model of something from which other forms are developed or are replicated. It's not basic research. We are looking for an early stage design, development, and validation of your technologies. You can either test a concept or use it to evaluate your design, but we need to see that you are actually creating something beyond just ideation. We want to see a real working system or product. You could also be generating data to validate that your invention works. Now, in terms of clean energy impact, I'm going to read this out. We use this definition as published, which defines clean energy impact as advanced and applied technologies that significantly reduce or eliminate the use of energy from non-renewable sources, including but not limited to energy efficiency, demand response, energy conservation, or technologies powered in whole or in part by the sun, wind, water, geothermal energy, including networked geothermal and deep geothermal energy, hydrogen produced by non-fossil fuel sources and methods, alcohol fuel cells, fusion energy, or any other renewable, non-depletable, or recyclable fuel. To qualify, your technology must show a clear path to reducing greenhouse gas emissions, for example, reducing cost or improving performance of carbon-free generation, energy efficiency, and process energy reduction, as well as grid modernization for easier integration of renewables. And examples without a clean energy impact would be projects that would say that they improve the economics of using fossil fuels, projects that have minimal impact on reducing greenhouse gases compared to the status quo, water treatment technologies that have no substantial energy impact, and projects that reduce pollution and improve the environment but have no fossil fuel reduction. The projects in this last section will not be successful in winning this grant. In terms of application tips, based on past applications we have seen and some of the feedback from our reviewers, here are some application tips on what we think will constitute a successful application. For technical merit, the technology is proven yet new and disruptive. Try to explain things very simplistically in a clear and concise way what you are proposing. And if it's applied research, show us that you're solving a problem. Explain the specific application of your technology. Remember, you are not writing for an academic journal. If you cannot explain your end goal or that you are focused on solving a problem, the application will sound like it is general research and likely not be funded. Try not to overuse acronyms. Proofread the final copy. Remember, the proposal is the only thing that represents you, so make sure it's a clean, professional copy. The other thing I would mention here is, please feel free to include a picture or diagram, which will be helpful to demonstrate what you're trying to accomplish. From a commercialization potential, the market need exists, and the market is large and are growing, and you demonstrate a strong value proposition. To receive a good score for your commercialization potential, you should show that you know your customers and what they want. You know and list your target markets and who your competitors are. If you truly believe that you have no competition, then maintaining the status quo is your competition. If your technology is protectable, talk about the IP you have. Discuss your business model and how you will commercialize your technology. If you have any letters of support, include them in the appendix. Avoid being vague while discussing your market. A strong project plan, one that is achievable within the timeline and the budget and the project completion, and it's likely to attract follow-on funding. A strong project plan is one that is meaningful and will contribute to commercialization. It indicates that you're setting yourself up for your next steps in the commercialization journey once your project is completed, such as finding more funding, lining up potential partners, or securing customers. So you may want to work backwards, think about what your investors or customers may be asking for, and how can you give it to them as you build out your project plan. Your project should demonstrate what they are asking for. You want to avoid using general milestones without measurable items. Pick a plan that will work, again, within the budget and time frame, and be realistic and specific. From a knowledgeable team member standpoint, we want to see that the team has a clear understanding on the steps needed for commercialization. We are looking for business experience in as well as technical expertise. It is very rare for one person to have all the knowledge needed for commercialization. So tell us who will be contributing what among your team members and also their backgrounds. If you're working alone, include advisors or mentors that you have. Attach their resumes. Tell us about their backgrounds and relative experience. If they have connections in your market, mention that too. Now, in terms of, I think there was a facts page, but probably maybe we don't have that anymore. But we can just look at some of the recent grantees from our program. So let me just pause here and let you take in some of the projects that were successful in both winning Catalyst and DICES. Maybe we can go to the next slide, Leslie. And finally, timeline and logistics. Go to the MassCEC website for the RFP and online application portal link. In order to keep the program as fair as possible, we will be collecting all questions by February 23rd and posting all the responses by Feb 28th. You may want to check the website again on that date. The due date for applications is March 16th by midnight. From there on, the applications will be reviewed by our external committee of expert reviewers and sent out. Again, will be reviewed first internally by MassCEC, and then sent out to our external reviewers. Finally, finalists who are invited to pitch will be notified on April 13th. We will be providing pitch coaching sessions from then on, leading up to a few days before the pitch days. Finalists will do their pitch presentations again to a panel of judges during the week of May 15th, and winners will be notified of their award status in June. If you are not selected, we will provide you written feedback, so you can use that to see if you would like to apply again in the next cohort. If you have any questions, reach out. We're happy to clarify any part of the program. The clearer you are with what we want, the stronger your proposal will be. I just want to say that both these programs are great programs. A lot of our past grantees have done incredibly well and in terms of raising funds and commercializing their technology. So we really look forward to your applications. Thank you.
All right, thank you everyone, and thank you, Priya. We will now open it up for questions. If you have a question, you can type it in the Q&A box and we will answer them. And if you have a question after this webinar, you're still welcome to ask it. As Priya mentioned before, we are taking written questions as well, so feel free to email the company catalyst at masscec.com email address, and we will answer your question that way as well. So we have one question right now that just says, is there an advantage to apply to DICES over Catalyst? We've had this question before. I would say it's if you're eligible for DICES, then it is encouraged that you apply to DICES. We do have the ability, if we have, for example, a lot of DICES applicants, we can award them across both DICES and Catalyst. So it doesn't, there's no disadvantage to applying to DICES. I wouldn't say necessarily that there's an advantage either. It's just they're kind of treated equally and fairly across the programs. We just reserve certain grants for only DICES eligible applicants. It's kind of almost like if you think of it like a carve out. Any other questions, or if that person who asked that question has follow-up, please feel free to type that, and we'll wait a moment in case anyone else wants to ask a question. I will also mention, while folks might be thinking, we do have a list of frequently asked questions on MassCEC's Catalyst and DICES webpage. That list of questions are all the questions we received last round. So if you're maybe not thinking of a question right now, but are curious what might be some other things that folks have asked about, you can go ahead and check our website and read through those questions. Someone just asked if we're going to share the slides. Yes, we did record the DICES and Catalyst portions of the webinar. We will post the recording. And we will also post a PDF version of the slides that you can click through and review. All the materials will be available on MassCEC's website within the coming days. Might take us a few days to get it up there, but check back maybe early next week and things should be posted. Okay, I don't see any other questions, so maybe what we'll do is just wrap up, and I want to thank everyone for taking the time to come to this webinar. Again, if you have further questions, please feel free to email companycatalyst@masscec.com. We'd be happy to answer those over email as well. Hope you all submit applications. Looking forward to it. Thank you.